Women in general, and the feminist movement in particular, express their desires for males. But when we actually give it to them in the way they want it, they are enraged. Feminists assert that they want equality. They aren't talking about the traditional meaning of the word, which is a man who will listen to their demands and challenge them. Men are expected to take on greater tasks while providing their wives and girlfriends an increasing share of the earnings. As a result, now that some men have discovered what is going on and are leaving, women who advocate for equality are trapped. Men know that they are being used when they are told, "Sorry, we don't want you to go because we need you to do more than your fair part and give society more than half your riches." Women, on the other hand, declare their support for equality and males treat them with dignity. Women are dissatisfied with the situation, while more men desire to do things their own way. Women would give us social validation, and our numbers would grow. We could grow eternally if feminists and other mgtow opponents were on our side. The majority of women are simply bad gamblers attempting to scam their way into a man's heart for financial gain. If the man calls her bluff, she will be humiliated and will make him feel bad about himself. Women are bluffing and claiming they don't need guys in the process. You know what guys are doing outside of romantic relationships by forging their own way. They are effectively calling the women's bluff. This is why mgtow are classified as women haters by women, despite the fact that we are simply concerned with our own survival. And because we're the breadwinners, women will never back us up. They can't recognize us if we pick our own route, because if they did, we'd recognize them for who they are. There are no independent women because the bulk of these women did not create their homes or start the businesses or garment factories where they work after all the hard work has been done. They now control all of the assets that have been transferred to them. That is why they reject mgtow. If women were not allowed to work before to the 1960s, as was the case, lesbians in the 20th century would have vanished in an instant, since they would have all been hunting for some guys to marry in order to provide for their financial demands. They'd be more concerned with their lifestyles than with their sexual orientation, and having a sexual encounter would be the last thing from their minds. They will always say one thing while meaning another. It's an unavoidable component of their socialization. They're continually attempting to sneak into our heads through our subconscious brains. Women cannot afford to be direct and deceptive, because we'll be able to see straight through them if we know what they're up to and where they stand on any given subject, or if their actual objectives are clear and obvious. They don't want the blame placed fully on their shoulders. If something goes wrong, because women are physically weaker than males, they have a long history of successfully misleading men. Their genes have been passed down through generations. They are opposed to mgtow because it violates all they believe. They are offended because we took their remarks literally instead of simply listening and placing them in their proper context. These men take women's wishes seriously and work hard to make them come true so that they can have sex and love. Some guys, however, choose to go their own way and take women's comments that they do not need males seriously. They say everything is fine. We will leave you if you do not require us receiving sex, and risking everything is no longer enough to maintain a man in a relationship. Men will do things their own way. Women are becoming more assertive, seeking other reasons to live besides defending their spouses and daughters, and in certain respects, women want men to stay with them, care for them, and listen to their problems. On the other side, we want males to believe that they don't require our services. The majority of women have been harmed by feminism, which promised them freedom, because they are dissatisfied with their work and are becoming progressively delusionary. Women require guys more than they will ever realize. They will not accept this. However, as long as it is not socially acceptable, they'll have to confess it at some point. As our society becomes more conservative in the next decades, we'll see a significant increase in the number of men responding to their needs and coming to their aid when so-called traditional relationships return. We'll most likely see a significant increase in the number of men responding to their calls and arriving to help them once they seek assistance, and they'll be given traditional relationships in exchange. Women will suddenly act as if they care about guys. They'll also be able to successfully reintroduce men to the bargaining table. When given the choice between being a feminist-like male and a conservative macho man, women always win. Only those two options are presented to males by feminists. mgtow select the neither box because we recognize that they are both anti-male and that neither situation can be won. As a result, we simply walk away from the problem, leaving it to women to deal with. They believe that naming us all as women haters will prevent us from evoking any action from women. That is, they want us to be terrified. We are losing our vaginal gold. They also despise us because we educate adolescent males about how things really are these days. They are unable to express this directly, however, because doing so may increase masculine suspicion of women. Men who think for themselves believe that men and women should be treated equally. Feminists may appear to seek equal rights, but their true goal is female superiority.